This is the plaintiff, John Bassett. He says he's an attorney who represented the defendant in a divorce proceeding and has been unable to get the defendant to pay him. He says this happens all the time. People need lawyers and representation until they get the invoice, and then suddenly they feel they could have done everything on their own, and then they don't pay. He's suing for $1,255, the balance due for his services. This is the defendant, Terry Byers. She says the plaintiff didn't show up for one thing. She had a friend help her through everything, and since she did it all on her own, she owes nothing. There were no contracts written. They never spoke of rates, and she was shocked when she got his bill. She's accused of not lawyering up.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff is a lawyer who claims the client got good work out of him and then stiffed him. But the defendant says the lawyer took her for a ride. It's the case of disorder in the courts.
Okay. John Bassett, you are suing your former client, Terry Byers, for $1,255 in legal fees that you say are unpaid and owed to you that she refuses to pay you for a divorce case that you say you handled for her. Tell me what's going on.
Your Honor, I am an attorney and have been licensed since 1965. In September of 2010, I was contacted by Ms. Byers with regards to filing a divorce. She called me on October 19th and scheduled an appointment. I met with her on October 19th. She filled out the questionnaire that I had sent to her for the divorce petition, and she asked me to prepare the papers for the divorce. She had custody of a child 4 years old, and she was interested in a restraining order. I discussed the matter.
Did she tell you that there was domestic violence?
She said she'd had problems with her husband, that he had been smoking marijuana, that he had been had a temper, and that she was concerned about him obtaining a gun, and that I asked her if there had been any domestic violence within the past 6 months. She indicated there had not been. I indicated to her that it was probably going to be a problem for her to get a restraining order under those circumstances. I prepared the papers on her behalf.
For the divorce? For
the divorce on October 19th, the week of October 19th, the week that I met with her. The papers were sent to her.
Did you have her sign a retainer agreement?
I did not have her sign a retainer agreement.
Why not? Because both the American Bar Association and I have to imagine the Oregon Bar Association recommend that that's the best way to do this. You're from Oregon, right? The best way to do this. It's always better for an attorney to have a written retainer agreement that specifies the rate and all of the rights and obligations that each party has. Why didn't she sign a retainer?
At the time that I met with Ms. Byers on October 19th, it wasn't for sure what she was going to do. I outlined.
She gave you $1,000 that day, right?
Pardon me?
She gave you $1,000 that day.
Yes.
Okay. So then, at the point when she's giving you $1,000, it's pretty clear she's hiring you. Why don't you have her sign a retainer agreement then?
I didn't have a retainer agreement with me at that particular time.
Were you in your office?
No, I met her at a other site. It was not in my office that I met her.
Where did you folks meet?
At the Barnes & Noble's coffee shop at the Clackamas Mall.
Why didn't you meet at your office?
Because that was the convenient place for her to go to.
Why didn't you just bring a retainer agreement with you?
I didn't know whether or not she was asking me, wanted to proceed at that particular time.
Yeah, but why didn't you bring one just in case? Well, I mean, come on, seriously.
I didn't.
Right? You didn't, right? But you should have, right?
Like
in retrospect, you should have, right?
In retrospect, there were a lot of things I would have done differently.
That's right. This is one of them, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. So what happens? Tell me what happens from your perspective.
On October 19th, I outlined for her the costs that were involved. I indicated to her that the filing fee in Multnomah County for a divorce was $418, and of the $1,000, $418 of that money went to Multnomah County for the filing fee and the divorce.
And you filed the divorce case, right?
I did.
And you drafted the divorce pleadings?
I did.
Okay. Ms. Byers, what was the agreed upon rate that he was going to charge you?
He did not give me an exact rate.
Did he ever discuss with you that his rate was, what is your rate?
$380 an hour.
$380
it was
an hour.
discussed.
No, he did not.
He says he did. You say he didn't.
He did not.
So don't you ask, what are you charging me an hour?
I did not, ma'am.
Why not? I would imagine that you'd be concerned about that.
I did not even think about that part of it. I was going through this divorce, and it became very nasty.
What were the issues in your divorce?
My husband had had an affair, and I had made the decision I was divorcing him.
Okay.
When he was served the divorce paperwork in November, he became very violent with me as far as...
Did he physically hurt you?
He did not physically hurt me.
Okay, so he became verbally
abusive.
Okay.
Screaming and yelling, demanding to have answers, keeping me up all night long, banging on my bedroom door. The next morning, I got up and made the decision that my son and I would go somewhere else to stay.
Okay.
During that period of time, my husband went down to the courthouse and got a status quo, which was the fact that my son had to be returned back to the apartment.
To the home. And then you could stay away if you wanted to, but you didn't want to stay away.
I did not want to stay away and leave my son with him, because then he would have the upper hand to get custody of him.
Okay. So you go back to live in the home, and how long does it take to get a hearing?
On the 26th of November, I went down to the courthouse myself and filed for temporary custody of my son.
Okay, but I don't understand. You've just given a lawyer $1,000 to handle the case for you. Why don't you just ask your lawyer to file for temporary custody?
He had told me the day before, when all of this mess really started, that there wasn't anything he could do to help me.
About the status quo order?
Yes.
In other words, that there wasn't anything he could do to challenge the status quo order? He didn't feel he had, is that it? That you didn't feel you had grounds to challenge the status quo order?
Your Honor, we need to back up, but that's correct, yes.
Okay, so did you get a temporary custody order granted?
I went in and filed for one.
Okay, and how'd that go for you?
My court date was set for January 7th.
So on the January 7th date, do you represent her?
I did not appear at the January hearing date. I was not asked to appear at the January hearing date. And
by her or the court?
By her or the court.
And you're the attorney of record on the case?
I'm the attorney of record on the case. I never received notice of the date. But, Your Honor,
when did you first hear that there was a January 7th date?
Months later, Your Honor.
Okay, so you never even knew about it when it happened, according to you? Yes or no? Did you know about it on January 1st? Did you know about it any time before the date?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
All right. Now, according to you, you call him and ask him to appear.
I called and let him know when the court date was set for.
For what? For him to appear or not?
For him to appear.
And according to you, what did he tell you?
Don't be angry with the court's decisions.
No. What did he tell you about whether he was going to appear?
Okay, so anybody here hire a lawyer? You ever hire a lawyer?
Yes.
For what?
For divorce.
How'd it go with the lawyer?
Good.
Okay, so here's my question. How do you protect yourself from a lawyer from overcharging you? What do you do?
He can't overcharge you because you
But how do you,
something before.
People can do all sorts of bad things. How would you protect yourself so that you won't get overcharged? What would you do?
Hire another lawyer.
No. See, the other lawyer could do the same thing. What do you do to prevent overcharging?
Have him sign something.
Have him sign something. Yes. That's exactly right. And I'm going to tell you guys how to exactly enforce that and make sure it's safe, okay? How to do that. Going inside the courtroom.
He did not tell me he was going to appear.
Did he tell you he wasn't going to appear? This is a motion that you're like a loose cannon firing a motion when you've got an attorney who's already representing you. He's supposed to be doing everything. You did it on your own. And, so this is a little bit awkward. If I find out my client is filing something without I immediately take hold and say, listen, you want me to represent you or don't you? This is not how it works. I do the handling of this case. You don't like it, you move on to a different attorney. But I'm not going to have you filing pro se motions on my case. And I handle it. I take it off the calendar, or I appear, or I do something. I'm not understanding how this happens, that according to you, you tell him about it. Yes, he says, I didn't even know about it. According to you, you tell him about it.
Yes,
and then he says, have fun with that, and don't get mad no matter what the court does. Mm-hmm. Do you have phone records to prove that you talked to him before in January or in December?
I have been working on getting those, ma'am.
Oh, well, now would be a really good time because I'm the lady in the black dress making a decision in a few minutes. Okay, so go on.
So I went to court by myself, pleaded my case, and I got full custody of my son.
How could you get full custody of your son when it was a hearing on a temporary petition? How did that happen?
It is temporary.
Okay. Did you at some point look into what had happened to find out what actually happened?
Your Honor, the hearing that took place in January of 2011 was not as the result of any papers that Ms. Byers filed. And you'll note in my statement, there are a dozen phone calls the first 2 weeks of December that are outlined in my statement to Ms. Byers. And those telephone calls are outlined, but those were questions with regards to...
There's $800 in phone calls.
There are.
And there are no court appearances.
She asked me...
I'm a little bit concerned that your bill keeps saying telephone call with client, $50. Telephone call with client, $95. Notice from client, telephone call with client, $63. Telephone call with client, $63. Telephone call with client, $63. Telephone call with court, $12. Oh, setting hearing time. What hearing time were you setting on 12/9?
The
telephone call with client regarding hearing. What hearing?
The hearing, she filed the request.
Just tell me the date of the hearing that you were setting with the court that you're charging her the $12.31.
There wasn't any date at that time, Your Honor.
Setting hearing time.
There wasn't any hearing date set at that time. It was a phone call to the court to inquire with regards to the setting of a hearing date. It wasn't the...
How much can you milk this? Come on. Telephone call with client. I mean, fully 2/3, not even 2/3, I would say 7/8 of this are all telephone calls with clients.
And they all deal with the restraining order, Your Honor, that I indicated to her that I didn't think...
Stop repeating yourself, because he charges $380 every time he repeats himself.
And that's why she decided to do it herself. And then for the January hearing, she indicated to me that she did not, she specifically instructed me not to attend it because she couldn't afford me to attend the hearing.
Okay, so for preparing the divorce documents and filing them, and for a bunch of phone calls, you want $1,837.
Well, there's a dozen phone calls.
Is that a yes or a no? That is it. You didn't have any court appearances. There aren't any other documents. Everything else is a conversation with your client or a letter to your client. Is that correct?
Or meeting with the client. That's correct.
Okay.
Or letters.
Okay. At a rate that you cannot establish for me in a retainer agreement that she agreed to pay of $380 an hour. Is that correct?
When I sat down with...
Is that correct? Yes or no? This is not complicated.
There's not a retainer agreement.
You should have had a retainer agreement, right? Okay. And here's the problem with you, okay? You're upset. You want to talk to a lawyer. You find out he has how many years experience in the field?
46.
46 years of experience in the field. He's good enough for your friend who recommended him, and you desperately want some advice. And you pick his brain, and you pick his brain repeatedly, yes, which is true, okay? But you want to just pay the $1,000, of which $418 was just your filing fee. That really didn't go to his pocket. So what you want is you want to be able to pay for all of the advice that you picked his brain on, $582 for a lawyer, right?
If I owe him something else.
I think you owe him something else. Mm-hmm. I don't like how this developed. I don't like attorneys who come to court to cry for fees when they didn't even have a retainer agreement. I think it's sloppy. And if you don't have a retainer agreement on the one you're suing on, you probably don't bother to get a retainer agreement on the other ones. The bar couldn't be more specific about how wrong an idea this is, because it pits lawyer against client just like it's happening right now. It's a bad idea. But I'm not stupid. I know that what happened is that you met with him, you got your ideas, and then you turned around and talked to a couple of know-it-alls who'd been through it, and then you decided you can represent yourself, which you can. People can represent themselves in divorce cases. In most big cities, there is a whole forum for the pro se representation. So then you figured out, why should I pay him a couple $1,000s? I got to feed my kid. I got to clothe myself. Why should I do that? And so now what you want is to have been able to have met with him the 1 or 2 times you met with him and picked his brain the number of times you picked his brain and pay only $582. That's not fair either. Okay? All right. I think there is an additional amount due and owing to your attorney. It's not the amount he says. It's not the amount you say. I am entering a judgment in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $700.
Well, you represented yourself in here also, and how did this go for you?
Not quite as I had planned it, but it went okay.
Did you feel like you did a good job, or as good a job as he could have done for you by going in on your own and representing yourself?
Yes, I feel I did.
Mm-hmm. All right. Head around the corner here. All right, let's see what the big attorney has to say here. 46 years in the business.
That's correct.
So you're satisfied coming out of here with the $700 you got?
Well, Your Honor, the court didn't allow me to complete the discussion with regards to...
The losers always say that, but get out. Harvey?
Okay, well, these people are right that you sign a retainer agreement. You're insane not to have a retainer agreement, but you should have in that retainer agreement exactly what the lawyer charges per hour, an estimate on how long the job will take, and if the lawyer will agree to it, you should set an upper limit on how much you can be charged. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.